Evening, folks. Brian here, Geomagnetic Earthwatch, Saturday, December 31st, the closing day of the year 2022 on our planet. Hope you are well. So, just wanted to say a few things before we bring this year to a close and get started on the next one. I'm sorry, I don't think it's going to be any better than the previous three. Anyway, I did my own Facebook analytics for the month of December, and I found that there were exceedingly well over 30,000 views of my Facebook posts. There were over 6,400 likes and over 1,900 shares of my videos. And again, I think that's awesome. I appreciate it very much. I thank you, and please continue to do so and spread the word so we can continue to grow our global family. We need to become an underground movement, and I'll explain. So maybe the title of this little talk, let's call it Who You're Going to Follow for Guidance and Wisdom in 2023 and the next couple of years, leading up to what I think is going to be the first of many events. We have three realities that we're going to be going into. Yet, they all come together. There is the magnetic excursion that we are well underway on, resulting in the destabilization and weakening of our protective magnetosphere, which is going to have an effect on both the individual and collective psyche, as well as affecting our climate and its weather patterns, affecting our ability to grow enough food for everybody, compounded by the government's restriction on fertilizers, natural cycles of droughts, not enough water, etc. And then later, the impacts it's going to have on our grid and technology that most of us are so dependent on for our daily lives. And all this that the government surely knows of, and they need to keep this information suppressed through orchestrated distractions and agendas. And that gets into the second reality that we're going to be getting into, a continuation of the first orchestrated pandemic, which clearly, if you've been following the news, if you want to know, was manipulated and funded for a purpose, and the purpose was for this, which is not a V. So I got to be careful what I say. We have the Agenda 2030, which in my opinion, I think is being moved up to 2025. I think they want to have things in place and finalized by then. Hence the incessant push, the continuation to jab everybody multiple times. And now they want you to think There's something even worse on the horizon, pestilence-wise. So again, they're working on your psyche, your mindset, which has already been manipulated over the past 3 years. And you know what? It's being done by or for another reason. And his arrival during the second half of tribulation. He's not here, but the stage is being prepared for him. Anyway, that's a little bit off topic, but it isn't, is it? So they're preparing us for a sequel. Pay attention. Third, there is the final conclusion that most YouTubers either one, ridicule, calling us Bible thumpers, or another one still is not going to bring them to the forefront. The only one who consistently does is James of the Earth Changes channel. He's the only one. Sister 10,000 Lakes, BC, I'm sure you're going to let him know. Thank you very much. So, and you know what? Some of those YouTubers are here with us. Everybody is welcome so long as we treat everybody with courtesy and respect. And if anybody gets out of hand, I'll give them a swift kick in the ass and send them flying over Mr. Ben Davidson's galactic current sheet into the face of a supernova. Not his micronova, but the big one. And that's a boom. Let that knowledge soak in. As for the other one, I'll get to you in the end, mister. And as I stated before, I don't have to agree with a YouTuber in order to post some of their content videos if I think it's important that we need to know. I'm very happy to share the information and give credit to that particular YouTuber, such as Mr. Ben Davidson. I don't have to like him. I don't have to agree with most of what he puts out, but a lot of it is very important, critical information. And some of that content, he does a very good job in presenting. I know there's disagreements with other YouTubers, you know, your little petty bickering. Immature, childish, waste of time. When Ben states that when things start to happen, all your traumas are going to surface, all the emotions. Everything in your past is going to come back. And this is true. And as he says, it doesn't matter how much you prepare it, it's really going to hamper you and drag you down. What Brian Gunderson says is, even before these events start up, get them out now and start dealing with them, especially if they involve your children. Unpack that baggage and throw those suitcases out, because you don't need to bring them with you to bring you down and create a whole bunch of problems. Shit's going to happen, and it's going to scare the hell of a lot of people, including our children and a lot of adults. They're both going to be pissing their pants if they're not prepared in knowledge, mentally, physically, and most of all, spiritually, for us Bible thumpers. For some of us, as we continue to age, we're going to need our children's help physically, and in return, we are going to guide them with our wisdom. Those of us who have it. It's a two-way street. We've got to stick together that way. I applaud anyone's braveness to bring out their emotions even cryptically. Past traumas. I got no problem with it. Mr. Davidson may be very well versed, very well studied, a very good speaker and speed reader. I have a 14-year-old autistic daughter who, when she was 3 years old, can name all the planets. And in kindergarten, she was already reading books. And in grade 1, she was speed reading. And in grade 2, and every year afterwards, she led all her schools and all the book reading clubs. And I would take her to the bookstore and buy her enough books, total of 1,000 pages. And at the end of the weekend, she would, "Daddy, I need more books." Both advanced, but neither one of them have enough acquired wisdom yet. And for at least one, control of emotions. One of them, I only get 4 or 5 hours sleep every night. But once I'm finished taking care of her, I'm here with you. So, yeah, going to deal with all those past traumas and emotions now. Don't wait for them to surface by themselves. As hard as it's going to be, do it yourself. Get them out. Get it done. Do it. Like I said, our kids are going to see things, man. A lot of them are not going to understand unless you build them strong. Teach them some life skills as well. Teach them things the schools are not going to teach them. Someone wants to ask me if I'm going to take on Ben. Why? We're both trying to present information, some of it, that is critical to bring knowledge and awareness of what's coming and how to prepare. I may not agree with almost everything he puts out there, but he does put out some very critical information that we need to know. Down here, and what he doesn't cover, I'm going to bring it to you. If I'm going to go after anybody, it's going to go after the type of person I can't stand. And that's a liar and a bullshitter. And he doesn't like it either. So he's got my back. All right. I will present my findings, my observations, my data, my interpretation, and I'll lay it all out for you. You pick what you want, follow up with your own studies, match it up with what your religious beliefs are, and if I come across bullshit that I see is misleading people, I'm going to lay that out too. So that brings me up to you. I remember one of your fear porn videos last year, one of your red alert emergency videos. All of Canada has to evacuate immediately because the following year now is going to be completely covered in ice age. buddy. Here in the Great White North, we have 38.25 million people. You and your little island of the United Kingdom, you have 67 million people. And last week you were whining and complaining in your flat, wearing your scarf and sweater and ski pants inside, whining and complaining how it was -1 outside. Whoa! You know, up here in Canada, it gets down to -30, -40, and you know what? Don't worry about us. We can handle it, all right? Look at us for inspiration. Don't spread your fear-porn bullshit saying how all of Canada has to evacuate. Who are you going to follow for guidance and wisdom, people? Just leave it at that for now. So we got to pay attention to what's happening on our planet. The agendas and the steps that they seem to be taking to get things implemented way, way before 2030. 2025 is a magical date. It's not magical. It's a date that keeps on coming up. The Deagle's prediction for population loss, global 70 to 80%. Solar maximum, the chance of a X-class flare knocking out our grid in whole or in part. Increased probability of catastrophic earthquakes and or volcanic eruptions. And the agenda is by then or before then trying to keep us locked down and controlled, and more of this. Do you know that this, by no definition, is a Victor Alpha Charlie Charlie India November Echo? If you know your phonetic alphabet, you know what I just said. And they still want to give you more and more and more. Do you know the CV has 3 separate strains of HIV injected into it? Did you know that? Did you know that a virus over time weakens? Doesn't get stronger, it weakens over time. So you don't need this. I'm going to include a link from the Prepared Homestead interview with a gentleman. He put it on Rumble where it won't be censored. I highly suggest that you take a look at that video. And again, I'll post the link. So that's about it for, this is going to be my last video of the year. And I will be starting tomorrow, afresh, anew. Because we need to get into things that I think are going to be happening between 2023 and 2025. With the dramatic changes in our weather patterns and our droughts and our water shortages. And it's difficult to think of those things now when most of North America is below 0 degrees. But you know what? You got to start thinking about it now. You got to start preparing. Don't leave your kids out in your training and your education and your preparations. Starting with something simple like growing a few pots of vegetables in the backyard or on the balcony. That's it for now, folks. Have a happy New Year.